New video appears to show Nolan Wells arguing with the friends he was with before they reached the island. And now the biggest question is why he did not have his phone. The 18-year-old went missing on July 4 after going by boat with a group of friends to Horn Island, about 10 miles off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. He was last seen around 3 p.m. on the west side of the island. His mother later reported him missing near midnight after he never came home. Nolan was found dead in the water on July 6th. Authorities have said they do not currently suspect foul play and believe he may have drowned.
Every investigation begins with a question. Sometimes that question has an answer. Sometimes it creates 10 more. Tonight, we're not here to tell you what happened to Nolan Wells. We're here to examine the timeline, the witness statements, the public statements, the evidence that has been discussed, and the questions that still remain unanswered. By the end of this investigation, I want you to decide for yourself. This is the Nolan Wells file. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Everything said here today in this video will be alleged. One of the most talked about images in this case is this photograph. According to people sharing it online, it shows Nolan Wells at a pool party at Evans' house after leaving Horn Island. Attorney Ben Crump has publicly questioned the timeline surrounding Nolan's disappearance and highlighted concerns about whether Nolan made it back to the mainland before his death. If this photograph truly shows Nolan at Evans' house on July 5th, then one question immediately follows. How did Nolan make it back safely to the mainland, yet later end up back near Horn Island? Did he leave on his own? Was he transported? Or is this timeline being misunderstood? Those are questions investigators will ultimately have to answer. Then, another piece of information began circulating online. This social media comment was written by someone claiming to have witnessed what happened that night. We have not independently verified these claims, but because they are so detailed and specific, they're worth examining. According to the commenter, Nolan, who they refer to as No-No, was not involved in the first altercation at Horn Island. Instead, another friend allegedly got into that first argument. The commenter says everyone later went to Evans' house for a pool party. They claim alcohol was being consumed. They also allege several people were under the influence of drugs. According to the witness, another altercation broke out. Nolan was allegedly heard yelling, "Give me back my phone." The commenter alleges that several people were involved in the fight while another individual stood nearby recording and encouraging it. The witness further claims that Evan's mother came outside and ordered everyone to leave the house. But according to this witness, Nolan was not allowed to leave. The commenter says Nolan remained near the basketball goal inside the pool area, leaning over, gasping for air, and spitting BLOOD. They also claim Nolan repeatedly cried out for his mom. Finally, the commenter states that they later spoke with Nolan's mother. I want you guys to take a listen to this young lady and how she feels about everything surrounding what happened to Nolan.
So allegedly, Nolan did leave the island, and he went back to Wyatt's house for a pool party. And during that pool party, there was an altercation between Wyatt, Nolan, Evan, and somebody else. And apparently they beat Nolan to death with some sort of bar or pole. There are people that are putting out witness statements stating that they were there and they saw Nolan spitting up blood and that these boys urinated on Nolan. They are saying that Evan's mother knew about the whole thing. And allegedly, they took Nolan's body back to the water. They're saying that this is the reason why it pinged on land at that house before they found that phone. This is why that boy told his daddy that Nolan was like a brother to me. Was like a brother to me when he showed up to get his car. It's because they already knew he was gone. Is this the reason why they needed dental records? Because he was unrecognizable? This case is starting to bust wide open. And we all knew that something else happened to Nolan. Now the question is, which of the parents helped those kids?
If this witness is telling the truth, where are the interviews? Were these individuals questioned? Were their phones examined? Were videos collected? Were witness statements compared? Did investigators attempt to verify these allegations, or were they determined to be unreliable? At this point, we simply don't know.
So they open up their Snapchat because a lot of the kids do have their locations where they're tracking one another. So one of the boys says, well, it's showing that I can't exactly remember what his location was showing, but my Life 360 location was showing something completely different. It was actually showing that his phone was like he was on land.
Explain the resistance. You said you went to the home to get the keys. I don't understand, like, what kind of resistance, what was that exchange of words like, the resistance that you received when you went to go retrieve his keys? Thank you.
He just acted like he didn't know where they were. He was like he was clueless.
During the family's press conference, Nolan's parents raised several concerns. They questioned why there was hesitation in returning Nolan's car keys. They questioned why there appeared to be hesitation in revealing that Nolan's phone had been recovered. They questioned why that information wasn't immediately shared with them. Nolan's mother also publicly stated that she still has not been allowed to see her son's body. Public reports indicate Nolan was identified through dental records. Dental identification is a common and reliable forensic method, but Nolan's mother's statement raises additional questions. If she still hasn't been allowed to view her son's body, why? Was there an investigative reason? Was there a medical reason? Or is there another explanation that simply hasn't been shared publicly? At this time, there has been no public explanation addressing that question. Now, let's go back to the timeline. If Nolan was truly partying at Evan's house on July 5th, why were his parents reportedly told by his friends that he was missing on July 4th? Was there confusion about the dates? Were people mistaken? Or did different people know different things at different times? Whatever the answer, the timeline has to make sense. And here's another question. If Nolan was allegedly alive on July 5th, would it make more sense why his body resurfaced on July 6th? Does the timeline fit better than the one in which he disappeared on July 4th? Those are questions investigators will ultimately have to answer. Some online accounts have gone even further. They allege Nolan may have been assaulted with a pole and suggest this could explain the witness's claim that he was spitting blood. At this time, Black File Investigations has not independently verified those allegations, and we are not aware of investigators publicly confirming them. They remain allegations. Another moment has continued to raise questions. Nolan's father has publicly described going to retrieve Nolan's car keys while Nolan was still officially considered missing. According to the father's account, the person who answered the door said, "Nolan was like a brother to me." Some people have questioned why someone would speak of Nolan in the past tense when he had not yet been found. Others point out that during a missing person crisis, people speak that way out of fear or emotion. Standing alone, that statement does not establish what anyone knew, but it is one more detail that has caused people to ask questions. Every investigation reaches a point where the facts either answer the questions or the questions reveal where more evidence is needed. Did Nolan make it back to the mainland? Was this pool party photograph really taken on July 5th? If so, how did he later end up back near Horn Island? Why was he allegedly asking for his phone? If witnesses are telling the truth, where are the videos? Where are the phone records? Why were Nolan's parents reportedly told he was missing on July 4th if he was allegedly alive on July 5th? If Nolan was not allowed to leave, who made that decision and why? Why does the public timeline continue to raise so many questions? And perhaps the biggest question of all, what really happened to Nolan Wells? Until those questions are answered, this investigation is far from over. I am Egypt. This has been another Black File investigation.